podcast. And tonight we have got a special guest for you tonight. He is a career military, retired from the Army. And he's also had a very successful career in the civilian world in uh, sales, startups, and a bunch of other businesses. And he's going to tell you about his PhD success story, where he's come from, where he is now, what's in the future. And so let's give a warm welcome to Les Lyon. Les, welcome.
Hi,
How are you
Neil.
this evening?
I am super. I am superly great. How are you?
Superly great. That's good to hear. I haven't heard that one. I'm going to use that one.
Okay.
Well, let's just dive right in. You had a very extensive career. Let's talk about. Give us your name, rank, and serial number. Name, where you from,
Got it.
and what you did as a career. Just kind of give us a quick snapshot
Okay.
of that.
Name is Les Lyons. Leslie is the long name. And rank, retired lieutenant colonel. Serial number, you don't need that.
No.
I am from Texas. I'm from the United States of America. I'm from Texas. Right now, I'm not in the United States. I'm in California. So I'm anxious to move back to
America.
Texas. Yeah, get back to America. Uh, I love Texas, love being from there, love all things Texan. In fact, my new endeavor and what I'm doing with my website and stuff, it's going to be all focused on the West and the Wild West and a Western theme and all that kind of thing. But I'm digressing. So, yes, I had a great dual career. I spent 28 years in the military, retired as lieutenant colonel, was in the infantry, jumped out of airplanes, did all kinds of good stuff. And at the same time, I had a civilian career, worked for Xerox for 20 years, uh, multi-billion dollar company, went to another multi-billion dollar company, climbed the corporate ladder. My focus uh, in both the military and in the civilian life is achievement. And it was like, do everything you need to do to achieve the goals that you want to achieve. And you and other coaches have said, you need to know what your why is. And my challenge is my why wasn't very strong. It was just, I want to be successful. And that's not a very strong why. So I'll come back to that later when we talk about where I'm headed. But the first 70 years of my life, I was very successful by all of society's viewpoints of what is success. I made a bunch of money, climbed the corporate ladder, was never a CEO because I didn't want that job, but I was like corporate vice president of sales at some major companies, made a bunch of money, but climbing the corporate ladder was horrible. I always thought if I got to the top, like if I was in charge of the sales program, I'd fix everything. The corporate ladder is so horrible. You get to the top and the backbiting and infighting and everything is so much worse that I finally got disgusted with it and kind of eased my way out of that and retired about a year and 3 months ago, as a matter of fact, when I was 71. Yeah. And I've been working since I was 14 years old. So I was worried about what was it going to be like not to work. But it's wonderful. The
I can't.
water is
I
fine.
can't
Everybody
see
should
you.
come on in.
I just can't picture you on a porch somewhere in a rocking chair whittling.
Not a chance. In fact, I was just outside right before I came in for this, digging a foundation because I'm pouring a slab for my brand new Weber grill that just came in today and a slab for my Weber smoker. And I'm pouring concrete tomorrow and stuff like that. So, no, I'm keeping busy.
And you're 70, 71?
72, I'll be 73 in September. So I'm 72 and a half.
72 and a half
And a
years
half.
young.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that brings up a good first point. When did you realize something had to change? Was there a life event? Was it
Yes.
you looked in the mirror? You
Yes.
pinched more than an inch?
Yes.
What was that turning point where you said, I don't know what to do, but something's got to give? Tell
All
us
of
about
the
that.
above. All of the above. I found myself in photos sucking in my gut or attempting to, and I thought, oh yeah, that's going to come out great. And guess what? The photo came out and I was fat. And so it doesn't matter how much you suck in your gut, you still look fat. I had chubby cheeks. I had all this going on under the chin. I was 32% body fat. I was starting to really hurt in area. I had all kinds of problems. I had skin tags, and the doctor said, that's just when you get old, you get the skin tags, blah, 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 blah. I had
Mm.
dry skin. They go, yeah, well, dry skin, you got to put moisture on it. And I had knee problems, and I thought, well, that's probably from all of my jumping out of airplanes, because not only did I do it in the military world, but I've got 250 civilian skydives as well. And so I thought, well, it's catching up with me. But I got to the point where I could hardly go up and down stairs. This was about 18 months ago. And I mean, my knees were hurting like heck. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, yeah, you're getting old. And he said, yeah, you're getting some arthritis in your knees. Took some x-rays. Yeah, you got some arthritis. There's really nothing we can do. I can put you on pain med and help you take away the pain, but that's about it. Well, I didn't like that. My back was hurting too, and it started hurting a lot. And it started hurting to the point where it was hurting. And I'm okay with pain a lot of times, but this was like, So they finally, because when you're on Medicare and TRICARE for life, they want to do, no, we'll do an x-ray. We can't do an MRI because it costs too much money, blah, 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 blah. So they went through all that. Anyway, they could never find what it was. So they finally did an MRI, and they go, oh, you have lower spinal stenosis. And I go, okay, what's that in normal terms? And they go, your spinal column is like gone like this around your nerves, and it's just pinching your nerves and all. And I go, oh my gosh. And they go, your only choices are surgery, or we can put you on pain meds. And I went, no, no. How can I fix it? What do I need to do? Diet, exercise, etc., to fix it? And they go, you can't. It's just like you're going to have to live with it. And I said, well, that's BS. So I looked at myself, and you're not supposed to do bad self-talk, but I looked at myself in the mirror and said, you're a fat slob. And I said, and I had Dunlop disease, as Dr. Berry calls it. My belly
Yep.
Dunlopped over my belt. And I was having a hard time putting socks on in the morning. I had my joints were all stove up and everything else. And I was a wreck. And so my friend, Mark Little, he's also in the community. Mark used to be a lot bigger than he is now. He was 310 pounds. Now he's 160. And over the last 6 or 8 years, he's lost all that weight. And he told me, yeah, I'm on this carnivore diet. Well, that sounded really crazy to me. I go, I ain't going to do that. That's, weird. So I went to, I don't even know the order, but I think paleo. And then I went to like keto. And then I went to lower carb. Then I went to like ketovore. And at ketovore, things started happening. And I went, okay, this is cool. And I signed up for yoga because I'd always told myself, you're too macho to do yoga. It's for a bunch of wussy boys that do yoga, and you're not a wussy boy, so don't do yoga. Well, how stupid was I? Signed up for yoga, signed up at LA Fitness, got a strength coach, um, started eating ketovore, and had so much success with that over 2 or 3 months. I went, well, I wonder what would happen if I just went on to carnivore. Went on to carnivore, and it was like, it's like in a jet fighter, and all of a sudden you see them hit the afterburners and go up. And that's what happened to me, and turned my life around. So the end of the story is now 18 months later, I'm 17% body fat, down from 32%. Oh yeah, there you go.
Dude, take a
There's
look at
my
that.
fat boy pictures, and then my new lean mean me pictures.
So the before pictures. What was your
Yeah, those are the
weight?
ones on the left, by the way.
So what was your weight there? Now, was that your heaviest?
My weight was 238, and my waist size was I was wearing 40 waist pants.
Wow. And how tall are you?
6'1",
Six. Okay.
32% body fat.
Okay. And then you go over on the other side and
On the other
lean,
side, I'm
lean
still
fighting
six.
machine.
I'm still 6'1". I'm a lean, mean fighting machine. I am 6'1". I am 100. I've gained 2 or 3 pounds because I'm putting on muscle mass, but I'm at about 187 right now.
Okay.
My low is 184. I'm at 17% body fat, on my way to 15%. And I'm off a lot of my meds. My blood pressure meds have been cut twice. I've been taken off 2 different blood pressure meds. I'm on I was on 3 heart meds. I just got taken off one yesterday or day before yesterday. My cardiologist is on board with me finally. It's taken me a year to get him on board. And I'm running sprints. I'm doing HIIT training, high intensity interval training in the gym. I'm doing strength training. My knee problems are 100% gone. And all I've done is switch to carnivore. My dry skin is 95% gone. And I was making bacon bites yesterday. I remember seeing Dr. Berry. So I had my hands all greasy with the bacon. I just started rubbing my arms with the bacon fat. And you know what? It's a day later and my arms are still looking good. So I'm going, that is great. All my skin tags are gone.
Mhm.
My lower spinal stenosis, I told my spine guy, I said, hey, it's gone. He goes, it is not gone. He said, you can kid yourself and tell you it's gone, but it's not gone. I said, okay, let me say it differently. I can not do backflips, but I can do sit-ups, push-ups, pull-ups. I can do a run. I can do sprints. I can bend over. I can do all kinds of stuff that I could not do before. I'm not on any pain meds. And how do you explain that? And he
And you're
said,
72 and a half years old.
at 72 and a half years old. And he said, well, I really can't. I said, I can explain it. It's because I went to eating no carbs and I went to eating an ancestrally correct way of eating. And which is now called a meatitarian, by the way. That's the
Yes.
new term, meatitarian. And I am. I know you can't tell, but I'm so full of energy. And by the way, this is decaf coffee. This is my little. This is my little decaf coffee with salt and butter in it. It's my
Mhm.
little nightly treat. So I am. People think I'm on drugs, man, because I've been around some of my old class. I had my 50-year college reunion here about 6 months ago, and the people are going, holy cow, Lyons, what are you on? And I'm glad you asked that. So I started giving out my business cards and
What a
said, you too
conversation
can do
starter.
that.
What an
It,
icebreaker.
I know. And I went in to see my doctor, my primary care, after like 4 or 5 months. And I had to come in for something. I forget what it was. The only time he had was 7:30 that morning. He goes, look, I'll be there. Staff won't be there. I'll open the door. Just knock on the door. So I knocked on the door. He opens the door and he's looking down at my chart and stuff. And he looks up and goes, holy shit. and, and I said, wait till you see me get on the scale. He goes, I don't have to see you get on the scale. I'm looking at it. He goes, what in the hell did you do? And I said, I told you I was going to fix myself, and I did. And he goes, okay, I want to hear all about it. So he wanted my before and after pictures. He wanted
Mhm.
my story, and now he's a coach. I've got a team of coaches. He's one of my coaches, and he'll tell me, I don't know that you should do that. And I go, well, I'm going to do it because nobody cares more about me than me. And I'm going to do it. N equals 1. I'm doing a test on myself. And if the test doesn't go well, I'll go back. I'll up my meds again and I'll do this. So he's on board. My cardiologist was the tough one because he wanted me on statin drugs and everything else. And I went, not a freaking chance. So
Hmm.
he saw all of this changes in me, and I yesterday I gave him the complete printed out report of all the COVID stuff that I'd researched, and he or day before yesterday, and he goes, oh, and I said, Dr. Blank, I am 100% convinced that I got supraventricular tachycardia in August of 22 as a result of either having COVID twice or the vaccinations and the one booster that I got, because the spike protein was in my blood and is still in my blood. And I'm on a 6-month detox protocol that I started a week ago. And he goes, really? What is it? I showed him. He goes, okay. And I said, and I'm going to be off my heart meds by 12 months from now. He goes, and I said, I need to know if you're on board with helping me do that or not. And he goes, okay. He said, we'll take you off the first one right now. And your job is, if you see your heart rate go up or your blood pressure go up, you let me know because we might have to put you back on at a lower dose. So anyway, I'm slowly getting my doctors on board, and my naturopath has been on board forever. But
Sure.
yeah, I am loving life.
And you bring up such a good point is that, and you're doing it smartly, tactfully. Um,
Yep.
you're not being aggressive. You're not, or you're being tactful. You can be
Yes.
aggressive and tactful, but you're
People
not
don't
doing
say
it.
that much about me, the tactful, but yes, I am being tactful.
But you're not, you know, so zealous. I'm going to fire you, doctor. I'm going to find you
Right.
another doctor.
No.
No, you now have someone who they've already got experience. They know your medical history in each of these different specialties. You've now got what Dr. Barry would call a learned health partner, and that
Yes.
partnership is so important. That's why you know you're very fortunate. A lot of people don't have that, and are forced to either be just their own advocate solely by themselves. Um, but yeah, but
Neil?
having conversations that are just candid and honest,
Yes.
that's going to be the key. What was that a big hurdle for you? I mean, I know you say you've been working on them. Has this been a long process, or are they just like, all right, were they pretty amenable to it?
Here's the thing. I had to, in sales, you come up with what's called an IBS. It's an initial benefit statement. And what you have to do is in the first 20 seconds, you have
Hmm.
to capture the person's attention by what you say in the first 20 seconds. And if you capture their attention, then you take them where you want to take them. So I thought, I'm going to treat this like a cold call in a sales process. So I did this and hopefully this will help anybody else that ever sees this with their physicians. I said, when I go in, I'm going to pretend you're my doctor. I'm going to say, Neil, I want to tell you something that I realized. Yeah, there you go. I want to tell you something that I realized. Nobody cares more about me than me. Not you, not my primary care, not my insurance agent, not anybody. So here's what I've done. I've built a team of specialists that support me. They're subject matter experts. So I have a financial advisor, I've got an insurance agent, I've got a yoga instructor, I've got a strength coach, I got a primary care physician, I got a cardiologist, I got a spine guy, and I rattle off 2 or 3 or 4 others. And I say, all of these people are on my team as my subject matter experts, and they're my advisors. Their job is to, in their area of expertise, look at me and evaluate me and tell me what I've got or not got and what I need to do about that. And then what happens is I take what they say under advisement. I may do some of my own research, which I do because I'm very anal and I go out and I research everything. And like, if you want to know what grill to buy, propane grill, just let me know because I just done the research. But anyway, so I do all this, and then I take your advice, Dr. Neil, under advisement. I look at it, and barring anything that I might find, I'm going to follow your advice. Now, if I find something like I found on statin drugs and cholesterol and LDL versus HDL and triglycerides, I'm going to come back to you and share that with you and provide you the research that I've found. And I may make a different decision than you. However, here's the important thing for you. You are not accountable for my decisions, and you can put that in your chart. You have advised me. You've told me what is best for me. If I choose to do something else, you've done your job, and I value that advice that you give me. So you're off the hook. And that's what I say.
Gold star. You hit all the points, no pressure on them, and you've invited them for a conversation. You know, oh, you think I need statin drugs? I and the research don't think so. Let's talk about that. We'll either come to a conclusion or we'll come to an impasse. But either way, we're all good because I'm going to do me and you're going to do you, and we're
Exactly.
covered.
Exactly. And by the way, Dr. Neil, if I die, you've got in your charts. And you know what's funny? My cardiologist turned the screen around and go, "Oh, I've already got it in here." And he turned the screen around and showed me on my last visit where he said, the patient did da 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 da, and I told him this, and this is what he told me. So I advised him I wouldn't do that, but if he chooses to do it, it's up to him. And I went, fantastic. He goes, first of all, I've never been sued, so I'm not worried about that. But he said, I put it in there so anybody else, if you were to move and somebody else reads the charts, they can see what's going on. I went, that
Right.
is perfect. I am happy to have you as a valued member of my team. And you know what? They like that.
Yeah. Well, I say that's specific to the medical field. Um, they're familiar with the term care team. They know what that means.
Okay, okay.
Advisory team. You know, and there's shifts back and forth. It seems like with between um, team-based care versus, single patient care. I mean, it ebbs and flows, but
Yeah.
the team, the care team philosophy is one that they're very familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah, and like you said, you got a financial advisor, you've got a strength coach, you've got a this, you've got a that. You're part of the. You want to be. You're on my team. Hooray!
Yeah.
And
I
you're a
tell them, I say,
valued
I
part.
love having you as a member of my team.
Yeah, and that you genuinely value what you don't always agree, but you genuinely value what they have to say.
Yep.
And that's so important in something that could be, and in a lot of cases becomes adversarial, and it doesn't have to be.
It
It
doesn't,
happens sometimes.
because it doesn't. And when I heard Dr. Berry say that once, and I went back to both my primary care and my cardiologist, and I just said, look, I want you to document in your records that you've told me this and I've chosen to do this, and that you've explained it to me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I say, and that way you're off the hook. You don't have to worry about me coming back to you later or something happening and you got to worry about, uh-oh. It's like, no, you've done your job. I have to be responsible for me, though. And if I choose to make another decision, that's on me.
Yeah, informed consent goes both ways.
It does.
Wow. So let's talk about when you first got started. What was an obstacle to getting started? You're like, all right, I need to do something. I'm going to try this,
Okay.
and boom, boom. What was the first roadblock that you hit? And you
The
said,
first,
do I really want to do this?
I wish I still had it. The first roadblock, so I could hold it up, pretend I'm holding up a great big box of Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its are my nemesis. It's like, oh my gosh. And pretend like in my freezer, I take out a half gallon of homemade vanilla ice cream. And
Homemade.
I tell
Ooh.
myself, because I'm stupid, so I look at myself and I go, you could just eat, okay, there's so many carbs in
Mm.
18 Cheez-Its. So count out 18 Cheez-Its. Hey, 30 minutes later, I'm halfway through the box. And later that night, I'm halfway through that half gallon of ice cream. I have no self-control. So the biggest thing was I had to completely rid my space of anything and everything that could cause me to stray.
Now, so you did, just a 100% pantry purge. You realized
Absolutely.
something that most people, sadly, it takes them a while to come around. It
It
takes
does.
people a while to come around to the fact that in some areas I can moderate with the best of them. In some areas, I'm fooling myself. I'm not a moderator. I need to be an abstainer because I just can't.
Yes,
And it takes
exactly.
people a lot of time to realize that and say, okay, well, with that,
I'm an abstainer. Yeah.
yeah. And is it everything in your diet? Sometimes for some people, sure. For some people, it's just certain things that are triggering where you just like the chip commercial. Once you start, you can't stop.
Bet you can't eat
And
just one. Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
and then you got people saying, "Crunch all you want, we'll make more." No.
Yeah, exactly.
Um. So learning that you had to be an abstainer for a lot of
Yes.
these things.
That I had no self-control when I got something that I was really enjoying, because I went, okay, I do the typical thing. I'll start it tomorrow night, or I'll only gamble till I'm back to even and then I'll quit, that kind of thing.
Right.
It's like next week in Vegas when I'm there for this conference, the Citizen Science Conference. I'm taking $100 bill and I'm going to go to the blackjack table and I'm going to play blackjack until I'm either tired or I don't have my $100 anymore. And my objective at any time I go to Vegas is to lose slowly. That's my objective.
And have fun while you do it.
And have fun while I do it. I've played blackjack before for 8 hours on $100, and that's hard to do. But I had a blast. Anyway, we're off subject. But yeah,
That you're gambling with your life.
yeah. But you know what? I am doing that. I cannot tell. I've got so many books. It's like right now, my current book. Good. I've got so many books. My current book is iodine,
Mhm.
and I'm on iodine, and I've got super gut, and I got metabolic approach to cancer, and I've got fasting, and I've got a million other books that I'm reading. But every one is a niche in one of my three areas: spirit, mind, or body.
Talk
And
about that. Tell us. You've got if
yeah,
we're here at PhD Synergy where we're talking about the diet, the
Yep.
exercise, the rest, the
Yep.
mindset, the spiritual side, and all things all together at once. A rising tide raising all ships. What's your spin? You've got a particular spin that I like. Tell us about that.
Okay. So first of all, for anybody here that hears this, if you are a non-believer, I have a close friend who is an atheist, an avowed atheist, and he's still my friend. I still talk to him about this, but I decided when I called myself a fat slob and I did an evaluation and said, you got to fix this. Oh, by the way, my 40 waist pants, I'm now wearing a 32 waist pants and they're loose. I'm afraid I may have to go to a 30. I haven't been a 30 waist pants since I was in junior high. So it's been a
Problems,
long time.
problems.
But I looked at myself and I said, all right, you are 70 years old. You're getting ready to hit 71 and you're a mess. That's the polite word that I used. I said, you're a mess. And I said, you have to fix yourself. No. Now, what was my why? My why was I visioned myself with a walker, and I visioned myself with a cane, and I visioned myself on meds. And I said, that is not Les Lyons. That's not the lieutenant colonel that I know that won the Army ROTC award and did all this other kind of stuff and, all past glory. But that's not the guy that I grew up with. And so I said, you got to fix this. And for me, and this is where I'm going to get a little bit in the spirit thing, I had a long conversation with God. It was kind of one-sided, but that's okay. It was me talking to God, and I just said, God, I've really done a crummy job with my life the first 70 years. People go, no, your Army, you're successful. No, personally, I have done a crummy job with my life. I wasn't a good witness. I wasn't a good example other than climbing the corporate ladder. And I wasn't good at helping others. I was selfish. I was all about climbing the corporate ladder, not tromping on other people, not putting other people down, but just nothing's going to get in my way. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder and do it in the right way and all that. But I was totally focused on that. And I just said, God, I'm in horrible shape right now. Help me turn my life around. Woo! I get choked up. I said, help me. Yeah.
Let me just interject here. And I feel exactly what you're feeling. And we had a pastor, an old pastor of ours. He said, nothing in your life's ever going to become powerful unless it first becomes personal. And when you get a why that is so deeply rooted and so passionate, it'll bring you to tears, no matter if it was last week or if it was a decade ago or 50 years ago.
I know I've been talking about this for a year and I'm still getting choked up.
It's keep doing that because it shows through, and people can see through fakiness a mile away. But everyone's got that internal, truth detector that says this guy's genuine. I don't even understand some of the medical words he's using, and it's maybe over my head, but
exactly,
there's something to it. There's
That's
something to
point,
this
Neil.
guy. I need to know what he knows. So continue.
I told God, I said, I've really botched the first 70 years. And I was just finishing reading in Matthew, and it was a passage about when a Pharisee was asking Christ, what's the most important commandment? And he responds and says, love God. And one that's just second in importance to that is love other people. And I told God, I said, I'll spend my next 70 years loving you and loving people if you give me the ability to do it. Woo! So that's what I'm doing. That's why I've got my new website, Kicking Ass After 70. And by the way, the AI, when I was using an AI on something, the AI took out the word ass and substituted something else. And I had to say, I call her Alice. Alice and I are really close. I say, Alice, ass is in my company name. You have to use that. And she goes, okay. And she substituted a word for God and substituted a word for Christ. And I said, and another boundary condition is whenever you see God, Christ, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, you cannot change any of those words. And she goes, okay. And she hasn't since then. But on the back of my business card, the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
I'm going to kick ass
Hold that
after.
closer. We need to
Okay.
see that.
Does that show?
Yes. Spirit,
Okay.
mind, and body. Healthy
Spirit, not
longevity.
healthy longevity through spirit, mind, and body. So I'm going to have a YouTube channel. I'm going to have my website. The website should be up and running this coming Wednesday. I've been meeting with my designer on final things. In fact, you can go there right now. www, you don't have to, but www.kickingAssAfter70.com, all one word. And you will see a Western website. You'll see a bunch of cowboys corralling the cows into the corral, herding them into the corral. And my website, Kicking Ass After 70, is too long a name. So the slang for my website is the outfit. The outfit. I'm the trail boss. I'm the head. And the outfit is my group. And my brand is KAA 70, which is Kicking Ass After 70. I've got a brand. I've got everything. I've got the whole Western motif. So I'm doing that. And my whole objective is to have a philanthropic website, no charge for anything. It's all out there. If you buy some of the stuff like, mixing bowls and stuff that I'll show you that I use in my yogurt and all that from Amazon, I get a few nickels on that, and there's no charge for anything. I'm putting out all this information, and it's going to be in spirit, mind, and body. So if you're an atheist, you don't believe in spirit, whatever, you can ignore that piece of the website, but at least look at the mind and body and take a sneak peek at the spirit once in a while too. I just encourage you to.
Wow. And the grocery store technique. Pull it off, take a look. If you don't want it, you put it back.
That's right. But you know what? I've worn my Kicking Ass After 70 t-shirts and all in the supermarket and everywhere. And I have people go, oh my gosh, that is so neat. And I go, really? Why? And they go, because I'm old and I'm not kicking ass. I go, here's my business card. Go to my website. Yeah, I can help you. And they go, I go, hey, it's all free. This is a pay it forward thing between me and God. It's all free. And they go, oh, I like that. I go, okay, cool. So that's my objective. That's what I'm trying to do.
And then show them your before and after pictures.
Yep. Yep.
So there was a question that you mentioned something that brought up a question. Oh, tracking.
Yes.
You're a data guy. And I know
I've
known this since the first time I met you. You're a data nut.
I am.
Now, I will say this. Let me tangent for just a moment here.
Okay.
And so as a musician, early on, I fell in love with, of course, rock and roll. And then I got into jazz a little bit. And then I about quit. You know why? Because I thought you had to know everything everywhere all at once. And it was so
and it was impossible.
hard. It was impossible. You can't do it. You can't have thousands of years of combined knowledge taking just the Great American Songbook.
Correct.
And you can't do it. But inexperience said, well, you have to know all that, otherwise you can't even really get started. And so when I was trying to figure out the augmented 32nd of the subdiatonic, the what? And so it's like, all right, let me find a big bonfire and throw all of my stuff into it. Someone talked me off the ledge.
Yep.
And the point of that being, and then I found a mentor. I found someone on my team, and he explained to me he's from Philadelphia, so my neck of the woods.
Yeah.
He has and he's Italian, so he's got a certain way of speaking that just penetrates.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he made the complex simple. Where have we heard that? You're here to make the complex things simple and simple things complex. We read that somewhere else too. But the idea of here's what this is, and then we'll put the label on it later, and here's how to make good sounds. And I say all that to say this: you can get so in the weeds of lipidology, of different specialized conditions. I want to get in the weeds of Hashimoto's or of this or that, and you can want to go toe to toe with people like Dave Feldman. And
I call it rabbit trails. You can go down all these different rabbit trails.
And you can follow the white rabbit all the way to Wonderland, Alice. And guess what? You're still going to be lost, and you still
And
got
you
to
got to go
figure out how to.
all the way back to get back on track again. That's right.
Yes, and it takes a long time.
Yes, it
And
does.
I started to go down that road too, and tracking. I had 3 different tracking apps at once, and
Yep.
and you've got an extensive sales background. Les, let me ask you: you got a customer or client in front of you. When they have too many options, what do confused people do?
They always say no.
Yeah,
Actually,
they do
actually, they go,
nothing.
"I need to think about it. I need to think about it." But that really is translated as no.
Yeah, I'm not going to do anything because I have too many options. It's overwhelming. I quit.
Neil, do you prefer the red one or the blue one?
Yeah,
You give them a choice of two minor alternatives. I mean, there's
exactly.
all kinds of closes. I was a horrible closer in sales. I hated to close. I was horrible at handling objections. You know why I did so well? Because I would just present them with all the facts. I'd talk to them about it, and I'd say, "So what else can I tell you?" And they'd go, "Well, nothing." I go, "Okay, so where do we go from here?" And they would close me and go, "Well, I guess we need to move forward." And that's the best way to do it. Let them figure it out.
Same thing with what do you track? You can
Yeah.
track all of these things. Okay.
Yes, you can.
And that's where you have a coach. When you have someone that can kind of guide you and help you navigate these waters, you can say, okay, we can track this or this. Not all of these. Let's look at this and this for right now. Okay, you're gonna go with this one. All right, now we can go this or this, and you can narrow it down. You can get them on track of what's important versus what's not. Otherwise, they get overwhelmed and they do nothing, and then they're back to a sad diet.
Now I want to inject something here because it's really important. The one thing I don't see us doing in the community is, I say us coaches, um, and it's critical. My last job, like 3 jobs ago, was I was working for a person here in San Diego, and we were training financial advisors. And my job was to supervise the coaches that we had that were coaching the financial advisors. The reason I say this is because guess what we call the coaches? They were called accountability coaches.
Mm,
And accountability coaches, the person they're coaching has to give them permission to hold them accountable. But once they give them permission, be prepared to be held accountable because coaches do 2 things: they keep you focused and they keep you accountable. And if anything in our community, I think we could use more accountability. We have the rah-rah, but we could use more accountability with people.
and to that, I will say, because I've experienced both of these. There's the group coaching element, and you can take accountability, but so far.
Yep,
But then in personal coaching, that that's I love personal coaching because you don't get a community and that is so good and so supportive and so needed. But you
exactly.
also get you get a person. You get me kind of with your
And I should
permission
have said that. It's
meddling in my life.
when one-on-one you have the accountability, not in a group.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in a group.
Yeah.
The only
And I
way you get it in a group is what you did on the very first thing when we did the 30 days of movement. And it's like, what did you do today? You had a beautiful way of bringing the accountability in there, but we were accountable really to ourselves
that's
to
yeah.
do something, and that's really strong.
Yeah. When you have you're accountable to yourself, but you've got a coach or some outside eyes also looking in saying, remember you
Yeah,
said you were you're getting off track here.
exactly.
And that's what we can do in a group coaching setting, but it's a different ball game when it's one-on-one. And I will tell people on like an initial call, first call or two, I'll let them know, usually the first day. Um, if I see you doing something that I know is going to be detrimental, it's going to get you off track. Would you want me to tell you?
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect.
of course I would.
Perfect.
Okay, so I want you to write this down in your calendar. On this day,
That's
you
right.
know, we had this conversation. You said, and then because I'm going to refer back to this, Les.
That's
So
right.
3 months from now, when you say, I would say,
You're
now,
going to
Les,
go,
remember that Friday evening when we
we
talked?
had that conversation.
You said it was okay with you to bring, so I'm bringing it up. You
You
know,
gave me permission to hold you accountable.
right.
Those are the magic words.
And that's where group coaching takes you so far, and that's where and there's one of the other coaches, Becca Bavery. She's military too, and she's she's always talking about a battle buddy. She wants to have a battle buddy on this or this.
Yep.
Finding, if for anyone out there who's wondering, find somebody in the community that you relate to, and if it's a coach, even better. But find somebody who you can be accountable to,
Yes.
that will hold your feet to, not just be. We always want to be empathetic, not
Yeah.
sympathetic.
Yeah.
Because if someone
Exactly.
can just, console you, it's going to be, it happens to everybody. Sure. And there's a time for nurturing and encouraging,
Yes.
but there's also a time to, damn it, get off your hind end and go do something.
And Neil, to that point, we could do more with I don't know what other term to use besides swim buddy. When you go scuba diving, you
Mhm.
always have a partner, always, and
Always.
you have to be able to reach out wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and touch your partner. You cannot be more than that far apart. So if we had partners in the PhD community, where find somebody that you relate to. I've found two or
Mhm.
three people, and now we're kind of holding each other accountable to certain things without coming out going, will you hold me accountable? It's like it's my swim buddy, and
Right.
everybody needs somebody like that.
Right. And it's
But
not
they do need a coach. It's not a coach. A coach goes the next step beyond. So coaches is really another step of accountability and stuff besides a swim buddy.
right. But it's also, yeah, you've got your swim buddy who's there in the trenches with you.
Yep.
Then you've got a coach that's not quite as buddy, but
Yes.
just as involved, but
Yes.
that one, half a layer removed. So they're still objective enough to tell you what you need to
Exactly.
hear, not just what you want to hear. And that's, again, there's only so much that group coaching can do, but it's still available. I know myself and the other coaches in the PhD community, we're a direct message away from someone. Hey, can we, have an occasional chat here or there?
Yep.
And if it needs to go more than that, um, like I have clients outside of the PhD community. I have personal clients, and we can, discuss those options too. If someone really
Yeah.
wants to knuckle
Yeah.
down and they want that, that coaching, that's always available. That's why, I love surrounding myself with so many people. And guess what? I have friends and buddies in some other communities too.
Yep.
Coach Bronson Dant,
Yep.
and Natalie, we've started to develop a relationship now, and we're going to be doing some other stuff with them here in
Cool.
the next little bit.
Cool.
Because guess what? When you surround yourself with like-minded people, you're not always going to see eye to eye on everything, but you're going to see eye to eye on a lot of things, and you
Yep.
can glean information from one another, and everyone's better for it.
And a rising tide raises all ships.
Amen.
And
Amen.
now back to what you were saying though about the tracking and all that. So everybody who might ever watch this, I'm, as Neil said, I'm a fanatic on tracking. I mean, let me show you right here. Here's one tracker. This is my Whoop strap, and it tracks anything and everything about my body and my sleep and everything. And on this arm is a Fitbit, just because I already had the Fitbit till I found out it's not good at exercise and tracking your heart rate. The Whoop is phenomenal, and I get all kinds of data from these two. And then occasionally, when I feel like the urge to track something, like the other day, I put together a single sheet for people that a bunch of people in the community like. That's just, okay, here's the main foods as carnivore. Okay, and here's, if you, 1 pound, 16 ounces, 1 pound. I had one guy that was from Europe that says, why didn't you put it in grams? I said, because I eat pounds, I don't eat grams. So 1 pound of all these different things give you this much protein in grams and this much fat in grams. And I don't even look at carbs or anything like that. It's just those two things. So if you're trying to make sure you're getting enough protein and or enough fat, and you know what those numbers are, just look down the sheet and go, oh man, I'm way behind. I need to eat a half a pound of bacon, or something. So it's just a quick reference for you. So
Right.
I love putting all that stuff together, but you don't have to do that. You can just take advantage and use the stuff. That's what I want to do. I want to provide a whole bunch of tools for people that's there for the light, and they can look at 8 tools and go, well, I like that one. Great. Use that one. Ignore
Yeah.
the rest.
Yeah. I know some people that are, one of the myths out there is that, the proper human diet, it's a carnivore diet. It is not a
It's
carnivore
not.
diet.
It's
It is
that's
a
one of the
spectrum from
yes.
low carb and
Yep.
paleo through keto all the way to Lion. Somewhere in there, you've got your sweet spot. Trial and error, N of one. That's where I land. And so, yeah, everyone, oh, it's a carnivore diet. Well, I know people that are on keto or even just low carb, and their physiology just responds to that. And so, Dr. Unwin from over in the UK, he put together a series of infographics on glycemic index versus glycemic load,
Oh,
and some really cool charts. And if you really want to see, if you're someone who say has a little bit of some different veg, you can see what the glycemic index and what the glycemic load is, and how what's the
oh,
spike in your sugar going to be, and then how long does that last. And you can, again, tools that someone wants to use them, they're great. How many grams of sugar are actually in that food or that beverage.
yeah, yeah,
Things
yeah.
like, and so yeah, tools just to help. No one tool is going to be, there's no magic bullet unless it's the
No,
mixer kind.
and I'm a gadget guy, and I will admit it. Like, for example, I've got an air in my bedroom, which I usually put put right here on that little hook. I've got a little Air 4 device that measures the CO2 content because I stumbled across it in all of my cruisings through the internet and YouTube channels and stuff like. And this one guy was saying, man, if you don't know, you're probably breathing your own CO2 at night, and it's not good. It's not giving you a good restful sleep. And I said, no, I'll try it and see what. Wow, it really
Mhm.
opened my eyes. So I wrote up a thing, put it out on the channel here about 3 or 4 days ago, and some other people go, oh man, never even thought about that. And da, 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 da. So my objective isn't to go get everybody to buy the Air 4 device. My objective is just be aware that if
Awareness.
you don't sleep with windows open in your bedroom, you're probably sucking in your own CO2, and that's not good for you. So
which, which affects your sleep, which affects everything. It's a
it's
cascading
a
event.
domino effect. That's right. That's right. You got to look at your deep sleep. You got to look at your light sleep. You got to look at all these different. This is called SWS and all this other kind of technical stuff. But anyway, there's different kinds of sleep, and you got to look at all of them. And man, every morning I take my little whoop strap. I bring up my phone. I go, "How did I do last night?" Yeah, I got my 8 hours, and I'm on a roll right now. I've got like 30 days of getting 8 hours of sleep at night every night for the last 30 days, and I mean, like, my sleep is off the charts. It's part of the reason why I'm so healthy is because forget food for a minute. Food is important. And if you do not get the right amount and the right length and the right kind of sleep, your body is not repairing itself. And I don't give a damn what kind of food you put into it. You're not letting your body repair itself. God will, okay, God or the higher being will repair your body if you put the right things into it and you give it the right amount of sleep and you take your mind and you go out and stand in the sun. This morning I went out, it was 45 degrees and I froze my butt, but I went out, stood in the sunshine, grounded my feet in the wet ground, and just stood like this for like 5 minutes. And I was counting the seconds, and it just makes you feel so good. There's all these things you can do, and no one it's like the death of 1,000 cuts, only in reverse. It's like there's no one thing that you can do that's going to fix you, but there's 1,000 little things that you can do that's going to turn you into a healthy maniac, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And if you're freezing your butt off, put pants on next time, okay?
Well, I did have pants on. You're right.
Have you
I
heard
have
of the
gone out there in my BVDs, but I did have pants on. Yeah. I know,
picture I
too
didn't
much
need?
information. I could have said naked, but I didn't.
I see. See, even in your mind's eye, you can't
Sean
unsee that.
O'Mara, Sean O'Mara go, yeah, go out there naked, man.
Have you heard of the book, The Slight Edge
No.
by Jeff Olson?
Oh
Phenomenal
no.
book. I'm going to put
Oh
it into
no.
a quick little capsule, but definitely worth the read.
Good.
And it's kind of along the lines of Atomic Habits, Tiny Habits. Um,
Yes.
it predates it by a few years, but basically it's everything. The slight edge is always working in your favor. You talk about
Okay.
the 1,000 cuts. Um, everything's it's always working. It's either in your favor or not.
The
And if
casino always has the slight edge. Just remember that. The casino always has the slight edge. It may be 1/10%, but that's why they keep the lights on. But yeah, back to your point. In this case, it's all the good things you can do, right? That make a difference.
Or all the bad things that you do. And it's not,
Yes,
everyone's looking for the
that holds you
quantum
back.
leap. It's not don't ever look for a quantum leap. That's what you people that, well, I've been doing this keto thing for about 3 weeks and I ain't lost but 5 pounds. Okay, it's 3 weeks. It's slight course corrections compounded over time. It's compound interest. It's the little things that you do day to day, minute to
Absolutely.
minute, either for you or against you, that add up over time. They're
Okay.
compounded.
Okay.
And yeah, he calls them what does he call it? Good decisions that are easy to do and easy not to do, and they'll either
Neil,
add up for you or against you over
do
time.
you know what a force field analysis is? Have you ever heard of that?
Just in science fiction.
Okay. This is not science fiction. Um, I took a whole bunch of quality training back when Xerox was working to get the Malcolm Baldrige Award and all this kind of stuff. And so I was like a quality guru and everything. But one thing that's really cool is a force field analysis. You take a sheet of paper and you just take a sheet of paper and you draw a line right down the center. And then you, on the left side, you put an arrow going this way. And on the right side, you put an arrow going this way. And the arrows going from your left to your right, you list underneath that all of the things that you're doing that help propel you towards your objective. On the right side, with the arrows pointing back towards you, you list all the things that are keeping you from your objective or pushing you away, and you list all those. And the objective is to maximize the ones on the left and add to that list, and minimize the ones on the right. So it's your concept with the slight edge or whatever, but it's put into 2 columns so you can very easily see, what am I doing in the left column that's really good, that's helping me, and what am I doing in the right column that's screwing me up and keeping me from making my objective.
Yeah, well, it's like imagine this was a beer. I've never liked beer, but let's just pretend this is a beer. All right, so it's
I haven't had a beer in
time.
14 months.
It's now decision time.
Yep.
I could drink this beer and let's say I liked it. Well, is it going to get me closer to my goal or is it going to get me further? Is it going to kill me now? No.
Right.
Is it going to make me healthy now? No. Not today. So I have that decision to make, right in the moment.
Yep.
Now, that same decision, if I make the decision to drink it right now, it's not going to kill me. It's not going to put me over. But if I make that same decision today and make that same decision tomorrow,
it becomes easier tomorrow.
It does become easier tomorrow. And then it's also compound interest.
And you get a pattern.
The curve goes through the
roof.
roof.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden you look back, you say, well, how did that happen? Well, a tiny decision that seemed very insignificant in the moment turns disastrous. Turn it the other way. I could have breakfast cereal or I could have bacon and eggs. I choose the bacon and eggs consistently over the next 3 months. And I turn around and say, well, how did that happen? Well, I can tell you exactly how that happened. Good decisions compounded over those 3 months. That's what does it. It's minute to minute.
You know what? I've been told this is an old Marine saying, and so I'm going to assume it is because it sounds like them. But Marines have a thing. There's 3 things you need to do every day. 3 things you start off doing, and you'll have a successful day. Get up. And you go, okay, that's like wake up, as opposed to the alternative. Get up, make your bed, brush your teeth. You do those 3 things every single day. You've already started a pattern of success for the day of accomplishing things, and just keep it going. And it's kind of to your point about doing things. And I'm trying to teach my grandson that, hey, just 3 things, Caleb. Get up, make your bed, brush your teeth.
So at the end of the day, even if you had a crappy day, you can say, I had a success. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I had a success.
Yep, that's right.
I made my bed. I got up, I made my bed, and I brushed my teeth.
That's it.
So if nothing else, I had success today.
What am I going to do next? Okay, I'm going to go make my coffee. Okay, what am I going to do next? I'm going to go outside and get some sunshine. What am I going to do next? I'm going to take my shoes off and ground my feet. It's like, just what else can I do to be successful? It's like, okay, I got to read 8 pages of my Bible reading today, for what I'm doing on this test where we're trying to read through everything. And so, yeah, it's just whatever it is that you've got, do it and be intentional and focus. And what's your why? And if you're being a lazy slob, okay, that's a technical term. If you're being a lazy slob, go back to what's my why? Why
What's
am
my
I
why?
doing all of this? And then, okay, have I given up on my why? Well, it looks like it. So if you haven't given up, what are you going to do to make just a little bit of progress towards that today?
1%. Can I be
1%.
1% better today than I was
Absolutely.
yesterday?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this as we wrap up, because this seems to be a common theme with a lot of people that I've talked to recently, especially. We talk about spirit, mind, and body.
Yep.
It seems like when you get this right,
Yep.
all the minutia, all the nuance, all the what do I eat, when do I eat, should I fast, should I not, should I eat, should I up my protein, should I decrease my fat? When you get this right and your why clearly defined in front of you, is it safe to say, Les, that when you get your mind right, the rest of the stuff kind of begins to take care of itself?
Yeah, and it's really interesting because you can plan to death. You can do all this planning and come up with all this. Here's all these strategies and everything, but you don't implement. So you got to implement. So you know what? One thing that I did for me when I gave you up the Cheez-Its and the ice cream, strawberry ice cream. Oh my gosh, my mouth still waters when I say that.
Homemade
And
strawberry
Cheez-It.
ice cream.
But when I gave those up, I said, I've got to do something for my body that it's going to love. And you know what I did? I ate a 16-ounce ribeye steak every night for 3 nights in a row. And I ate until I was pleasantly stuffed. And I'm sitting there going, oh man, I love this life. So I'm doing something for my body that translates into my mind, which takes me back to my why. It's going like, okay, this is great.
And it all
It's
feeds on
that's why
itself.
these three circles that are all interspersed, that's called a Venn diagram. And
Mhm.
what it means is they're independent. So these pieces out separate, they're out separate from each other, but where they overlap,
They meet in
that's
the
where like
middle.
mind and spirit overlaps, body and mind overlaps, body and spirit. They all have an overlapping area. So what can you do that maybe get you juice in one of those areas like body, but also get you a good impact in the mind? If you can do that, so you're doubling or tripling your effort. Hey, right in the dead center of that, it's something that's body, mind, and spirit, all three. Wow, what could I do that's going to give me a good impact on all three of those? That's really going to help you, and it's going to make you feel phenomenal.
Oh, yes. You'll have the energy of a Les Lyons.
You will. You will.
Oh my goodness. I've had so much fun. Tell us again, where can we find you on the intertubes?
Okay, on the inner tubes. You go to www.kickingassafter70.com, KICKINGASSAFTER70.com. And you can find me. I don't even know how all this YouTube stuff works, but this will probably be my first video on my YouTube channel, by the way, once you give it to me, if I have access to it. But yeah, I'm gonna have my YouTube channel. Right now I'm focused on getting the website up because my designer said to me yesterday, she goes, Les, do you know what we're really creating? And I said, what? We're creating a magazine like National Geographic or something like that, so that as you post all of this stuff in body, mind, and spirit, it's just like National Geographic. So if somebody goes away from your website for a month, they come back, they go, I missed that issue. Let me see what I've missed. And I thought, that's great idea. Let's put it all together like that so it's easy to find. We'll have all this kind of stuff. So yeah, kickingassafter70.com, and the same thing on YouTube. And hopefully in another few weeks, I'll have some followers and you guys can find it. And she's doing what's it called? Search engine optimization,
Right.
SEO, so
Mhm.
that people can find it.
Well,
So that's
fantastic.
it.
Well, we'll be sure and put it all in the show notes too, so people can find it. And I know you'll be putting it on the in the PhD community. Um,
Yes.
it's going to be good. And yeah, keep spreading the word of PhD, the gospel of PhD and
Oh,
healthy
that's my
living.
objective. When Dr. Barry's, when I was on, oh, we never talked about that, but I'll tell you real quick. When I was on with Dr. Barry on my first Zoom call or second Zoom call 6 or 8 months ago, And he said something. I said, I love your book, Kicking Ass After 15. I said, I just want you to know I'm kicking ass after 70. He goes, Les, that's a great idea. Make that into a YouTube channel and a website. And I thought, okay. So
Hark.
I've spent about $9,000 so far on all this kind of stuff, getting video cameras and getting everything ready to go because I just want to help people.
Man, well, we appreciate you. And there's a lot of other people that neither of us have ever met and probably will never meet that I know you've helped. You've helped them
so.
already.
I hope so.
Well, I'm excited, Les Lyons. Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to call it a night. But man, stay in touch and stay engaged.
Thanks, Neil. Okay.